Hello there. So, a lot of people are saying that the Gospels are unanimous, alright? Here's the thing, this has no basis. This is just an assertion, an assumption, and a claim that really has no evidence to back it up. All the manuscripts after Jesus until today, alright? They all con- have the names of the traditional authors Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in all the manuscripts here that contain the beginning of the page. All right? It always is according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Never in 2,000 years, all right, has basically anyone said that those gospels are attributed to someone else. It's consistent for names, all right? It's consistent to be four names, and the thing is that also they could have said that there were other disciples beside Mark and Luke, because they did not witness Jesus. So the early Christians, they really could have simply said, for example, Matthew, Andrew, right? Peter and John, for example, right? Guess what they did? They were honest. And all the Christians, I mean, in history, they doubted some letters in the New Testament. For example, some of Peter's letters and the last letters of John and Revelations, I think, and some of Paul's letters, all right? But they never doubted the four Gospels, all right? It's anonymous. If you want to use the words, yes, they are anonymous in that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John did write the four Gospels. And that just proves that they are reliable too, because, as I said, if they wanted to make them trustworthy and make everyone believe them, they wouldn't necessarily care about. I mean, maybe they would care to attribute the names to people that actually witnessed Jesus. But guess what they did? They only had two witnesses, just as we need in the Bible, and you know, two disciples, later disciples, that saw the disciples and um, yeah, were witnesses to the eyewitnesses of Jesus. All right, just as it says in Luke 1, that he decided to write an orderly account to him after investigating everything from the eyewitnesses, all right, of the logos, of the word, all right. So, conclusion is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they have never been anonymous. That's just a claim that is possible to make today that has basically no ground to stand on. Because some of the earliest manuscripts does not contain the beginning of a text, does not mean that the beginning of the text excluded the name from being there. Alright, so I want to remind you all that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, as Bart Ehrman's student also says, they wrote the Gospels. Alright? And the fact that Jesus himself says that he will give them the Holy Spirit to remember everything he said proves also in the book of Acts that Matthew and John wrote correctly everything that Jesus said. Alright? That they wrote down. I want to remind you guys this because yes, there's many people that thinks that they are anonymous, but they are not. All right, it is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John that wrote them, and this there's no way around it, right? So I will also say that for those of you who believe that the Gospels are anonymous, all right, I want to ask you some questions. Do you agree that someone can write something about someone and make the work as anonymous and still have 100% truth in what they write? All right. If someone says the sun is white or yellow, whatever, are we gonna call it a lie just because you don't know who said it? Obviously, you can verify it yourself, but something can still be true even if it's anonymous. That's how I want to tell every people that doubt for the traditional authorships. All right. So if you really think that we don't know who wrote them, that is not any reason to disbelieve them, especially when history and archaeology attest its historical and archaeological reliability. Right. Um, so I want to remind you all again that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all right, they are the authors. And as Christians in the history shows, they didn't always accept everything, but they always accepted those four